career curtain call. Talked about it as one of the great moments in his entire baseball career. And the Cubs now have won 41 of their first 56 at home. One of the best home records in quite a while.
Yeah, really no way to figure it. Just enjoy it. The Cubs feel very comfortable playing in Wrigley this year, and I have to believe a lot of it has to do with the support they've gotten from these great fans.
And Ryan Dempster has been so great at home. He'll take the ball tonight. He's only lost one decision at Wrigley Field.
And, you know, every time you think Ryan Dempster's due to hit a speed bump, he comes back with a great outing like he did in that Milwaukee Massacre.
Right-hander Brian Moeller will go for the Astros. Should be a great night for baseball. 70s night from the ballpark. Astros and Cubs coming up next.
Buy smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. The Chicagoland area Dodge dealers and the all-new 2009 Dodge Journey. AT&T. See what's new from the new AT&T. Visit att.com for details. The Illinois Lottery. Play the Illinois Lottery. Have a ball. Buy Pepsi. Every sip gets you closer. And by Southwest Airlines. Fees don't fly with us. Visit southwest.com.
Some pretty cool outfits on 70s night tonight. And tonight's Cubs broadcast from Wrigley Field is brought to you in beautiful high definition, sponsored by Comcast. Into the up-to-date Central standings. The Cubs lead Milwaukee by 5 full games. The Cardinals lost last night, so they're now 6 out. The Brewers are in Cincinnati tonight. Manny Parra against Bronson Arroyo. They'll get started about the time we get going tonight. And Bob, the best chance for the Astros to get in would be the wild card. They're in 6th, however, 8 games back, even though they have added a couple of veteran pitchers.
Yeah, apparently the Astros still feel they're within striking distance. They made a couple of moves at the trade deadline. I think it surprised a lot of people around baseball, but hey, if you're running the organization, you think your team has a chance to get back in it. They've had a lot of offensive players underperforming up to this point of the season. If they can come back near their career numbers in the last 2 months, who knows?
The manager Cecil Cooper, and they're playing some pretty good baseball. They just swept the New York Mets in a 3-game series for the first time since 1993. They've won 6 of their last 7, and the Cubs have won 7 of their last 8. Hey, we mentioned yesterday the crazy finish the Astros had on Saturday night against the Mets. They came back to tie it on this hit by Jeff Blum. Now watch Mark Loretta and Hunter Pence. A major collision at home plate. Ramon Castro, the Mets catcher, ended up leaving with an injured ankle. Mark Loretta took the worst of it and was out of the lineup yesterday. And then in the 10th, a line shot to left. Tatis could not stay on his feet as Lance Berkman scores. So Darren Erstad with a game-winning sac fly. How about that finish?
Odd-looking play at the plate with two players coming in almost simultaneously. See the National League leaders over the last 10 days. As we mentioned, the Astros have a lot of guys who are way below their career numbers, but their career numbers for a reason. Guys tend to get back somewhere close to what they usually do over the course of the season, and the Astros coming off a real good week and a half, starting to creep back closer to those career numbers.
So the Cubs have taken the field behind right-hander Ryan Dempster. And here's the Astros lineup. Ryan will face switch hitting Kaz Matsui is at the top. Miguel Tejada has been batting second lately, and he's hitting .394 in that spot. Berkman without a home run in a long time. Lee in left always hurts the Cubs. Pence in right, Wigginton at third, Darren Erstad out in center. Humberto Quintero is a catcher, and Brian Moeller still looking for his first hit of the year.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively tonight. Behind Ryan Dempster, brought to you by Pepsi. Every sip gets you closer. Soriano, Edmonds, Fukudome across the outfield. Ramirez and Cedeno on the left side of the infield. Fontenot at second base. Darrell Ward filling in for Derek Lee over there at first base. Derek Lee 1 for 8 lifetime against Brian Moeller. Darrell Ward 6 for 14 lifetime. Good time to drop the left-handed hitting Darrell Ward into the lineup tonight. Giovanni Soto will behind the plate, and Ryan Dempster on the mound tonight. Dempster coming off that great outing up in Milwaukee. 7 strong innings, gave up only 5 hits and 1 run, struck out 9 Brewer batters, only 1 walk. Stellar numbers on the season for Ryan Dempster.
The umpiring crew, Laz Diaz behind the plate, Adrian Johnson at first. It's Marty Foster at second, and the crew chief is Wally Bell at third. So Dempster versus Matsui. The lights are on. Starting a little bit early tonight as Darrell Ward with a backhand flip to Dempster to get the first out. This is a first start of the year at first base for D. Ward, and made a nice play. Not an easy flip.
Take a deep breath after that one. What a start. Ward showing good range going to his right to make the play. That's a little bit of an awkward backhanded flip. Fortunately, Ryan Dempster was in a position to take a couple of really big steps to catch up to that flip, and just does beat Matsui to the bag.
And it brings up Miguel Tejada. Going into action tonight, Darrell Ward has logged just 17 innings at first base this season, but over 1,800 in his major league career. A 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike, 1-1.
Well, Len, we shouldn't be surprised if we see the Astros leg out some of those infield hits. They lead the National League with 130 infield hits on the season. Have some good speed scattered up and down this lineup.
78 degrees. I don't have the humidity, but it has to be high. And the wind out of the east at 8. A lot of rain overnight and early hours today. Just a brief shower around 2:30 or so. Lofted into shallow center, and Edmonds plays it on the bounce. Just couldn't get there. And Tejada with another hit from the 2 spot. He's been batting second since July 26th, and he's hitting .394.
You know, Len, I think this is one of those humpback line drives that fooled Jim Edmonds a little bit. Tejada had that ball right in on his hands, hits it down near the trademark. Looked like it was going to carry a lot further than it did. That ball just got out into center field and died in front of Jim Edmonds.
Brings up Lance Berkman. Swing and a miss. The humidity is at 68%, in case you were wondering.
I thought it was closer to 69, but I knew I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, you weren't off by much. Seemed to get warmer right after that brief shower, and the sun came out in the late afternoon hours. High in the air as Edmonds is going to drift back. Now onto the warning track as Tejada tags. He's on his way to second base, and he's going to get in. So Berkman flies to the warning track in center. 27 games without a home run for Lance Berkman. It's the longest homerless drought of his entire career.
You see Edmonds had to keep backpedaling and backpedaling until eventually ends up on the warning track. Miguel Tejada, that's just a good piece of base running. You see that outfielder backpedaling, you know he's going to have to gather himself and throw that ball back to the infield. An easy advance for Tejada.
In the dirt on Carlos Lee. Third in the majors with 89 RBIs. Fouled back.
Well, you know, Len, you see a team enough over the course of a season in your own division that patterns start to develop, and almost hate to say it, but the Cubs have done a nice job controlling Lance Berkman this year. He's now 4 for 28 on the season with no home runs and no RBI.
To right, and that'll be a base hit. Kosuke up and firing. It's way up the line, and it bounces out of play. A rare wild throw from Kosuke Fukudome. So Lee will get an extra base. An RBI single for Lee. Takes second on the throw. And on Kosuke's second error of the year, he takes third base.
Just really rushed his throw. We've seen Kosuke do this on numerous occasions to hold runners at their base, but this time he airmailed it over everybody, and unfortunately Ryan Dempster was caught in the middle of the infield watching the action rather than backing up the play.
So Carlos Lee, an RBI machine now with 90 on the season.
Yeah, that was the continuation of my point about Lance Berkman. The Cubs have done a nice job controlling him. However, Carlos Lee has done a lot of damage.
Another blooper. Edmonds will lay out and he'll get it. That robs Hunter Pence of an RBI. Well, Edmonds could not get to the Tejada single earlier in the inning, but he gets to this one off the bat of Hunter Pence. Astros 1, Cubs coming up. It's the Astros, brought to you by Pepsi. Every sip gets you closer. Soriano leading off as per usual. Double play combo tonight, though. Fontenot and Cedeno. Mike hitting second, Cedeno eighth. And in between you have Ward, Ramirez, Edmonds, Giovanni Soto catching, Kosuke playing right, the aforementioned Cedeno, and Ryan Dempster ninth.
Take a look at the Astros defensively. Lee, Erstad, and Pence across the outfield. Wigginton at third base tonight. Miguel Tejada at shortstop. Kaz Matsui over at second base. Lance Berkman at first. Humberto Quintero behind the plate tonight for right-hander Brian Moeller. It's a solid defensive ball club that the Astros run out there on a nightly basis.
Erstad went back, now comes in, and he'll get it. Usually when Soriano hits a fly ball, your first tendency as an outfielder probably is to go back. Moeller coming off his deepest outing of the season. He was an out away from a complete game. It was a win against the Reds. And his numbers this year versus the Cubs, pitched well 4 starts ago on July 18th in Houston. In an Astros 2-1 win, he went 7 innings, gave up just 4 hits and 1 run.
Yeah, the 1 run was a solo Jim Edmonds homer. He really pitched well in that ball game.
That's not a big surprise that Jim Edmonds got it. All kinds of previous success versus Moeller. Here's Mike Fontenot. He has hit in 7 straight.
Well, Moeller not a big strikeout guy. He usually pitches to contact. A little sinker, a little slider, will change speeds occasionally on his breaking ball.
Ground ball, and Matsui slipped. And Fontenot's now 6 for 12 against the Astros this year. I think Matsui gets to that ball if he doesn't slip. It wasn't hit that hard.
It was going to be a nice play if he makes it up the middle, a backhand, probably some kind of a jump throw back to first base, but we'll never know. Spun his wheels, lost traction. Well, you mentioned the rain that fell last night and earlier today. I'm sure the tarp was covering the infield, and the grounds crew came out and watered down the dust before the game, but Matsui just a little too much horsepower for those feet.
Maybe there was a strong ant or an insect in the dirt that's a Cubs fan. Grabbed one of his spikes. Said, "You're not going anywhere."
That's a strong ant. I mentioned when we gave you the lineups, Darryl Ward filling in for Derek Lee tonight. I think that's one thing Lou has really done a good job of this year, picking his spots to rest his regulars and put the bench player in there who's got good numbers against the opposing pitcher that night. And tonight, as I mentioned, Derek Lee 1 for 8 against Brian Moeller. Darryl Ward 6 for 14. Seemed like a reasonable time to make the switch. Plus the fact that lefties hit Moeller much better than righties.
We'll probably see Henry Blanco in there tomorrow afternoon for Giovanni Soto. Quick turnaround with a day game coming up Tuesday. And Derek Lee has played more regularly than any of the Cubs starters.
And as we always point out, when you have some of your bench players in the lineup on a given night, it gives you a really strong bench late in the ball game. A lot of options tonight for Lou Piniella.
The hero from yesterday on the left, Reed Johnson. Pulled foul. Matt Sinatra just got out of the way. Reed Johnson brought up your name in the post-game news conference, talking about that what it feels like when you know you got it. But he was quoting you. Usually we quote players. Players are now quoting you.
Well, that was one of those no doubters. I mean, Reed Johnson is not the kind of guy to stand at home plate and admire a home run. He was sprinting around the bases, but he did stick that right arm up in the air as he was leaving home plate. He knew he got every bit of it.
First career curtain call, and said it was probably his best moment as a baseball player. He always wondered what it would be like to get a curtain call as he watched Aramis and Derek Lee get curtain calls. And this is why he got the curtain call. That was an 0-2 pitch. And it was after the Pirates had tied the game with 3 runs in the top of the 8th. And it also came after that big walk from Giovanni Soto with 2 outs. Oh, 2 to Darrell Ward, and he strikes out. Quick snap throw. And Fontenot back in time. Quintero really fired that ball quickly down to first.
Oh, he's got a strong throwing arm, and he likes to showcase it. And this is a good time to attempt to pick off. That runner invariably takes an extra step when he sees the batter swinging at that pitch. And Quintero just snapped a throw down to Lance Berkman in an attempt to get Mike Fontenot. 36% of the attempted base stealers this year have been cut down by Quintero.
Ramirez pops it up on the first pitch. Matsui gets it, and that's the inning. 1-0 Houston after 1.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn. Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Casters ever. Skip Carey, the longtime voice of the Atlanta Braves, the son of Harry, the father of Chip. They were all together here in this very booth many years ago. Skip has passed away at age 68. And he broadcast games to a national audience on TBS for so long. He was always very honest, had a great sense of humor. And Bob, he treated me so great from day one. And we're all going to miss Skip Carey very, very much.
No doubt about it. And I echo your sentiments. He treated me great as a player, as a coach, as a manager, as a fellow broadcaster. Couldn't have been more accommodating.
So we send out our deepest condolences to Skip's wife, Paula, to our good friend Chip Carey, Skip's son, also to Josh Carey, also a broadcaster doing radio for the Rome Braves, a single-A affiliate of the Atlanta Braves, and also to the entire Carey family. Our director Skip Ellison worked with Skip Carey for many years. And it's low and outside. Skip also did NBA basketball. He was with the St. Louis Hawks, followed them to Atlanta, and then later joined the Braves broadcast team. A 1-2 count on Ty Wigginton, and he strikes out. Soto will complete it by throwing to first. That's the first strikeout for Ryan Dempster.
Good splitter from Demps, just bottomed out, started just above the kneecaps, ended up down in the dirt. It's always interesting to watch a Ryan Dempster start and see what direction he goes with his pitches. We've seen him have starts this year where he's had a great slider and used it to full effect. Same thing with his splitter. Last couple starts, he's had a real good fastball that he's been able to locate on both sides of the plate with movement. Well, one of these nights, he's going to have all three of those pitches working, and watch out.
1-1 on Darren Erstad. Michael Bourne with a sprained right ankle, still day to day. So Erstad been getting all the starts out in center. He briefly took over the everyday job to start the second half when we were in Houston. And Bourne jumped back in there, but again, he's battling that injury. 2-2. Big catch by Jim Edmonds to end the top of the first, or the Astros would have gotten another run. If that one had gotten down, you would have said it's going to be one of those nights. They already had 2 bloop hits. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Depp here in the second. Voting for the finalists in the ultimate 7th inning stretch competition is going on now. Visit Cubs.com and help determine who you think should sing the 7th inning stretch at the Cubs game on September 1st. New videos will be posted daily, with each day producing a new finalist. So don't forget to keep visiting Cubs.com and vote for who you think deserves the title of Ultimate Cubs Fan. Too high on Quintero, the catcher. Comes in at 210. There goes the bat. Look out. Fortunately, everybody's all right. Look what I found.
Yeah, that gentleman deserves high fives. He saved everybody in the section over there. A lot of people not even watching the action as that bat ended up in the stands, landed right in his lap. Thank goodness everybody's okay. Didn't even drop a peanut. Nice going.
1-1 on Quintero. 62 at bats this year, no walks.
For the catching tandem of Quintero and Osmus really struggling offensively, hitting 118 over their last 6 games combined.
Well, the fans are booing because the fan has handed the bat to a member of the security team, but he'll end up with a bat. I'm not sure if it's that one.
Well, and usually it's a good trade-off. Generally, players will want to get their game bat back, and they're willing to trade a brand new autographed bat. Sometimes they'll throw in a ball or some batting gloves along with it. That game bat probably has pine tar and rosin all over it.
There's Brad Osmus.
Astros had J.R. Tolles up for a while earlier this season. He just couldn't get untracked offensively.
Kosuke going back on this ball. Pretty good carry, even though he hit it off the end of the bat. 70s night. How about some 70s rock from the Allman Brothers? After an inning and a half, 1-0 Houston.
Seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator.
The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV.
The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all of the above. Sharp.
Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball-loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Harry Carey's the official home plate of the Chicago Cubs. Enjoy prime steaks at Harry Carey's Italian Steakhouse in Chicago, Rosemont or Lombard, or stop by Harry Carey's Tavern in Wrigleyville for the best burgers in town.
Can you play this tune?
No,
Come on, it's like 1-2 notes.
I never really tried. Piqued my interest. I'll have to check it out when I get home tonight.
Well, here's that matchup, Moeller versus Edmonds. Cubs trail by a run. Most homers and RBIs for Edmonds against Moeller of any batter. Drills it to right, but for an out as he hit it right at Pence. So he's just 13 for 38.
Sometimes there's no easy way to explain why one guy has such great success against a pitcher. Obviously seeing the ball well out of his hands. Moeller's stuff matches up well with Jim Edmonds' swing. Sometimes it's just a fair amount of luck, but for whatever reason, Jim Edmonds wears out Brian Moeller.
I could be wrong, but that last shot we had of Brian Moeller, he kind of had that look on his face like even the outs are hit hard. He knows better than anybody.
You bring up an interesting point, Len. We talk a lot about the advanced scouts at the ballpark. Anybody has access to the numbers. You can pull those up off the internet, but advanced scouts make notations that Jim Edmonds hit a line drive to right field rather than just fly it out to right. Goes down as an 0 for 1 in the scorebook, but everybody knows Jim Edmonds hit that ball right on the button.
Soto grounds out to Tejada. 2 quick outs. Let's meet tonight's Walgreens celebrity bat kids. 8-year-old Jenna Frieden from Monmouth, Illinois, and Eric Guzman, 9 years old, from Joliet, getting an autograph from Jim Edmonds. Having a great time at Wrigley thanks to Walgreens, a pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. Go to WGNradio.com for more info on how your kids can become our Walgreens celebrity bat kids at a future game. It's knocked down by Berkman, and Moeller gets over there in time. A very quick 1-2-3 second for Brian Moeller. Still 1-0 Houston. p.m. day here at Wrigley Field. Watch the Cubs take on the Cardinals at 7:05. Again, it's a night game. And the first 20,000 fans will receive a Cubs cooler bag, compliments of AM, PM. Too much good stuff. Pitcher versus pitcher. Brian Moeller threw 5 pitches to get the 3 outs in the bottom of the second.
He's perfect at the plate this year.
And that'll continue.
0 for 26.
Back to the top, and Kaz Matsui, who came in with a 10-game hitting streak. He's 0 for 1.
Hey, Len, Smash Mouth is playing next door at the Neighbors. The Cubby Bear Wrigleyville at the corner of Clark and Addison is the venue. August 22nd is the date. Should be a smash. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com or by phone at 312-559-1212 or at the Cubby Bear Wrigleyville. Smash Mouth, August 22nd, brought to you by Bud Light. Live music and Bud Light keeps it coming.
I'm a Believer. That's been covered a few times. I'm not sure who did the original. Is it Neil Diamond? I know the Monkees did the famous version of it. Swing and a miss, 0-2 on Matsui.
I know there's a lot of believers in the house here tonight.
Yes. Cubs leading the division by 5. The Astros are in 4th. They're 13 games out. Their best shot's going to be the wild card. Instead of dealing away veterans, they brought in a couple of pitchers. Left-hander Randy Wolf to join their starting rotation, and former Cub LaTroy Hawkins was acquired from the Yankees to help out their bullpen.
Kind of an awkward finish that time by Ryan Dempster on his follow-through. Just landed awkwardly on the outside of his left foot. You can see his heel kind of spun in the hole. He ended up going down to a knee out there. I hope he's okay.
2-2 called, strike 3.
Looks like he was okay on that pitch.
Yeah.
That's a splitter that just fell off the table. Started it up around the letters, ended up right in the middle of the thighs. That's not the location Ryan normally tries to throw that pitch, but had such a tremendous amount of movement, he got away with it.
Outside, ball 1 on Tejada. Singled and scored in the first inning. Lance Berkman will only bat next if Tejada can reach. A roller to Cedeno comes in. And that's 7 straight now sent down by Ryan Dempster. Still 1-0 Astros.
Seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator. The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV. The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all the above. Sharp.
Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV.
Click on the sports link and look for Len and Bob's baseball blog. On the blog tonight, Bob has a post about that big walk from Giovanni Soto last night, setting up the game-winning home run. Game notes from Stats. Check out our new Baseball Buddy feature and a link to our current podcast, as well as post-game comments from Reed Johnson. And Cedeno fouls off to the right. We're in the bottom of the third. And it's 1-0 Astros. Moeller has sent down 6 of the first 7 he's faced. Again, make sure you check out our updated podcast. We review the big weekend. Keys to the Cubs' success here recently. Our Lollapalooza experience. Check it out. Maybe some fashion tips. We were giving Doug Minkiewicz of the Pirates some sartorial comments. Still 2 strikes on Cedeno. There's Drayton McClain, owner of the Astros. Looks like he has a pretty good seat.
He usually does. Down at Minute Maid Park in Houston, he's always right behind home plate. He must know somebody. He wanted to be close to our camera guys tonight because he knows they get the best shots.
McClain's official title, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Houston Astros. One and 2. Moeller coming back to Cedeno inside, but he hit it foul. Congrats to the winners, the daily winners from last week of the Ultimate 7th Inning Stretch Competition. So finalists include Gil R. from Norridge, Illinois, Gonzalo P. Not sure where he's from, but Justin C. from DeKalb, Illinois, Leslie W. from Champaign. No play for Berkman, and Brenda B. from Freeport, Illinois. Ryan Dempster next, and then Alfonso Soriano. Another 1-2 pitch, low and outside on a fastball.
Yeah, good to see Ronnie making an effort to work a long at bat here. There have been a lot of real short at bats already here in the first couple innings of this game.
Up the middle, that's a base hit. And that'll give Ryan Dempster the opportunity to do what he does best. That's lay down a sac bunt.
It went from a good at bat to a great at bat. He saw a lot of pitches, fouled off a bunch of them before finally grounding that 2-2 pitch back up the middle of the field from our Southwest RoboCam. Clean single into center for Ronnie.
Ryan has worked very hard at the plate, second in the league in sac bunts, only to Aaron Cook of the Rockies, who has 14. Dempster now with 13. That'll go 3-4 on the putout.
That Not an accident, Len. You and I know very well how much work Ryan Dempster has put into the offensive part of his game. He knew he was going to be in the rotation this year, knew he was going to be asked to put down bunts with regularity, and really worked hard before and during and since spring training to work on that skill.
So the tying run's now at second base. Called strike. Fonzie coming in with an 8-game hitting streak. He homered after the Johnson go-ahead homer. He went deep in the 8th inning for his 19th. That was yesterday. 4 for 10 against Moeller in his career. Swing and a miss. Couldn't get the slider. 0-2. The Cubs are 4-5 against the Astros this season. 2-1 here. 2-4 in Houston. They'll play a total of 18 times. Moeller doing what any veteran pitcher would do in that spot. He got Soriano to chase a slider to make it 0-2, so he figured, well, maybe he'll chase a worse slider.
Scoot it over a couple more inches, throw it a couple inches lower, and see if you can get him to chase it one more time.
Cubs facing Moeller, Rodriguez, and Backey, the same 3 starters they faced in Houston coming out of the All-Star break, and the Cubs dropped 2 of 3. One-two pitch, got him to bite that time. Home plate umpire Laz Diaz made the call.
Pretty apparent strategy that time by Moeller. Once he got Soriano to chase that slider on the second pitch, he was just going to continue to go out there off the outside corner to see if he couldn't get one more swing and a miss. That time the check swing.
Now Mike Fontenot 1 for 1. And he has time after time come up with huge hits all season. Not this time as Berkman will underhand to Moeller covering first, and the inning is over. So they waste the leadoff single. It's still 1-0 Astros.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn. Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
For all your Yankees gear.
For all your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
CDT text poll question. We're featuring 70s night. So we want to know your favorite member of the 1978 Chicago Cubs. Text to 97999. A for our good friend Ivan De Jesus, Cubs special assistant. B for Bill Buckner. C for Dave Kingman. D, Rick Russell. E for Bruce Suter. Poll brought to you by the new AT&T. See what's new at the new AT&T. Visit att.com for details. That'll be a fun one tonight. Herman Franks was a manager, 1978, and the Cubs finished in third in the East, went 79 and 83. 1 ball, no strikes on Lance Berkman. Our job is to try to explain why things happen. I don't know if either of us has any idea how and why the Cubs have gotten Lance Berkman out all year, but don't want to question it. You just hope it continues 2-1. Let's put it this way. When he hasn't faced the Cubs, he's been an MVP candidate this season. He's normally a guy you definitely want to work around in a big spot. Fouled back. How about this? Do you think there's anything to that home run derby jinx? He hit 0 home runs in the month of July, except for the home runs he hit when they didn't count in the derby at Yankee Stadium.
I don't think there's a jinx, but I definitely think, especially for the guys that advance into the deeper rounds of the home run derby, you can get into a lot of bad habits with your swing.
Called strike 3 to get him.
That at bat had very little to do with the home run derby. Just got caught looking at another high splitter from Ryan Dempster. I mentioned it before. That's not the location he wants to throw that pitch, but it can be very effective because hitters aren't used to seeing a split finger letter high.
July was the only calendar month in his career in which he did not hit a homer. Yeah, it does make you wonder, though, that, and that's probably why a lot of guys don't participate in the Derby, because you're swinging for home runs, and most guys will tell you that you never really swing for a home run. Try to get a good pitch, and you try to hit it hard someplace.
You know, some guys have a natural lift to their swing anyway, but when you get involved in a home run derby, it is to the extreme. You're trying to hit the ball in the air as far as you can with a drastic uppercut swing. And obviously that's a swing that usually doesn't work against a pitcher trying to get you out. It works pretty well against a coach throwing 60 miles an hour, but it doesn't work well with a guy that has weapons to try to get you out in the mid-90s.
Slider a little bit away, 3-1. The wind and the pitch hammered into left center. And Lee is now 2 for 2. Big turn around first. Hey, Cubs fans, we want to remind you that you can get official Cubs text and video alerts on your mobile phone. Text Get Cubs to 65246. Hey, great to see Yosh Kawano here at the ballpark tonight.
That's how humid it is here tonight. Yosh took his hat off.
I wonder if the Hall of Fame has it. He has donated that signature hat to Cooperstown. Swinging strike on Hunter Pence. Pence robbed of a hit. An excellent catch by Jim Edmonds his first time. He'll single this time and now has a 10-game hitting streak. Back-to-back singles from Lee and Pence. The Astros are 4 games under 500. They're in 4th place. They're 13 games out, but they're playing good baseball. We talked about it. They just swept the Mets. They've taken 6 of their last 7. So many times it's not who you play. It's when you play them. Cedeno can't get it on the dive. Carlos Lee held up at third by Ed Romero, the third base coach, and they're loaded up.
Hard hit ball by Carlos Lee, and then a couple of punch singles through the infield from our Southwest RoboCam. Diving effort by Ronnie Cedeno. Can't quite get there. Boy, an early stop sign thrown up by Ed Romero on Carlos Lee. It looked like Carlos Lee was on the bag, maybe a step around the bag at third base. At the same time, Soriano picked up that ball in left field. Normally, you would send the runner on home and put the pressure on the left fielder, but Ed Romero's seen enough of Fonzie's throwing arm. He didn't want to run into and out at home plate.
So Dempster now will try to dial up a double play ball to get out of this thing. Already trailing 1-0. Bases full of Astros with one out. Here's the pitch to Erstad, and he hits that foul. Well, they've been aggressive here in this inning. Only guy who hasn't been was the guy who was caught looking on strikes to start it, Lance Berkman. So Lee, Pence, and Wigginton with consecutive base hits. One of Erstad's former teams, the White Sox, have dropped out of first place for the first time since mid-May. They're now trailing the Twins by a half game over the American League Central. Crowd is up. 0-2 pitch. Big strikeout. 2 down.
Just a perfectly executed up the ladder fastball. You see Gio wants it up there around the letters. Actually didn't quite get up high enough, but high enough for Erstad to swing right through it. You like to see that strikeout because Erstad's a tough guy to double off. He still runs extremely well, especially coming out of that left-handed batter's box. He's only grounded into 3 double plays all year.
Ball one on the catcher, Quintero. And now time called at the plate. Now we're ready to resume the 1-0 pitch in the dirt, 2-0. So Ryan needs to come up with a strike pitch here as you have the pitcher on deck, but nowhere to put Quintero with the bases loaded. Cubs have the second biggest lead in baseball. The Angels lead the Rangers by 11.5 in the American League West. That missed badly, 3-0. Well, he's really in a bind. Cubs are 5 up on Milwaukee. Everything else is pretty tight around baseball as we get into August. And he missed on that one, and that'll be a bases loaded walk to force in their second run of the day. Well, we have a new element for you thanks to our friends at the all-new Horseshoe Casino. It's our Cubs legendary moments tonight. We go back to July 2nd, 1972, and the Cubs turned one of baseball's rarest feats. Here's legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster Jack Brickhouse.
Hundley hit into a triple play. The Cubs have got a triple play coming from somebody. So what do you say they collected now? Ground ball. Santos steps on third. Over to second for one. Throw that ball. Oh, it's a triple play! A triple play! They pulled it off! Oh, brother! Oh!
Now Brick asked for the Cubs to turn a triple play, and his hopes were answered. It's tonight's legendary moment brought to you by the all-new Horseshoe Casino, where entertainment knows no bounds. Hey, hey, indeed.
We just need one out right here. Get out of this jam.
Santo to Beckert to Hickman. 1-1 on Moeller. Ronnie started that triple play. One and two. Youngster forced in a run by walking the 8-hitter Quintero. The fans are with him here. They want him to strike out Moeller and get out of it. And he does. All 3 outs were strikeouts, but they had 3 hits and a big walk with the bases loaded to make it 2-0.
Announcer.
And I'm Skip Carey, Major League Baseball announcer.
And I'm Harry Carey, Major League Baseball announcer.
Will the real Major League Broadcasting Carey please stand up?
Well, how about
a tribute to the late Skip Carey, who passed away on Sunday. I loved his sense of humor. He could say something and you'd go back and you say, I think he was joking. I'm not quite sure. Very subtle. And a flair for the dramatic. He had a lot of big plays to call in Atlanta, particularly in the 1990s. Here's Darrell Ward with the Cubs trailing 2-0. High in the air down the right field line. Pence lost his hat and couldn't get the ball. At least he had a little fun with it. He enjoys himself at the ballpark. You can definitely say that.
Boy, he's one of those guys, scouts use a term, he's a high motor guy. Playing a little hacky sack here. That ball scared him when it came back down out of the stands. Yeah, he never throttles back.
Two strikes on Darrell Ward. I'll tell you, Bob, I watched a lot of your games with the Giants, not only on WGN with Harry and Stoney, but on TBS as well with Skip and the Professor, Pete Van Wieren, Ernie Johnson.
I don't think fans or even players nowadays realize how big a deal that was when you went to Atlanta. You on the Superstation, when you came here to Chicago on WGN. There were a lot of games that were not televised throughout the majority of my playing career. It was not unusual to go a week or more without being on television.
Check swing ground ball. It'll be cut off by Wigginton. No question about it. I'm growing up in Michigan. I bet you there were maybe 60 Tigers games on maybe when you had the game of the week, but you could always count on the Cubs on WGN and the Braves on TBS. And Skip Carey every day. Ramos Ramirez takes a strike. Remember, he went after the first pitch his first time around, and he popped to the second baseman, Matsui. You know, Moeller knew that. He did throw him a breaking ball. Get me over slider for a strike. Fouled back that time.
Well, and I know you grew up listening to a lot of Ernie Harwell. Got a chance to know him pretty well later in life. But Ernie Harwell, one of the topics of our This Day in Baseball history. He filled in for Red Barber, who had some medical issues with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And to get Ernie Harwell to call the Brooklyn games, the Brooklyn general manager, Branch Rickey, traded a minor league catcher to the Atlanta Crackers.
Do you have the name of the catcher? I think I can get it if you don't.
I have it here, but I'd like...
Dapper?
Yes, indeed. Nice call.
Called strike 3 on Ramirez. He doesn't like that call. And Diaz. 2 down.
Well, it's not the first time, and more than likely won't be the last time that Laz Diaz will have his judgment questioned behind the plate. Yeah, that's a backdoor sinker that never even gets onto the back porch. You see why Ramirez is upset right there. You know, there was a time you might have taken that with a grain of salt, but Aramis Ramirez has improved his eye at the plate so much. Years past, he might have hacked at that pitch, but he knows his strike zone now. He knows what he can handle and what he can't handle. He knows what he has to swing at in a 2-strike count, and I agree with Aramis. That pitch was out of the zone.
So it's Edmonds with 2 outs. Lined hard to right his first time. So broadcaster traded for a player. Yeah, that's a good story. What does it? They have the year again?
It was 1948.
1948.
I don't know.
60 years ago.
I don't know the minor league catcher Cliff Dapper, but I would have to say that Brooklyn got the better end of that deal, getting Ernie Harwell.
I would agree. Kerry Wood flipping a baseball. He could be back in this series, which would mean either tomorrow or Wednesday. Feeling good today. Lou said they would likely be activated in the next few days, but he did add sooner than Friday, probably. Well, no game Thursday, so only a couple of choices. And when he does come back, he would start in middle relief. And Lou said he would get at least 1 tune-up appearance before jumping back into the closer's role, because he will not go out on a minor league rehab assignment. So Lou will continue to use whomever is available in that closer role. Jeff Samardzija would not be available after he went 2 1/3 yesterday. I don't know if they really want to use Marmol. He's gone 3 straight, but we'll see what the game dictates. Another liner to right. Pence on the move. Pops out of his glove. Edmonds on his way to second base. See how Bob Rosenberg scores it. It's a double. I guess it required more than, however it's phrased, ordinary effort for Pence to get to this baseball.
Yeah, hooking line drive toward the corner out there. He did get there and get a glove on it, but when he went into his slide, he actually kicked it out of his own glove. Yeah, that's an extraordinary effort. That's a good call by Bob Rosenberg.
Will you tell him that later? He thinks we question every call he makes.
Well, I can't tell him that. Don't anybody out there tell him I said it was a good call. We got to give Rosie a hard time every day.
chance for Soto. He represents the tying run. We're in the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Houston. So Edmonds has hit 2 balls very hard against Moeller, and now is 14 for 39 against him, with 5 doubles and 6 home runs. They're scoreless in Cincinnati. The Brewers and the Reds play the top of the fourth. Reds have really been struggling. They're 10 games under. They're in last. Pence coming over again, and this one out of play. He's gotten a good workout in this inning.
Apparently they still haven't found those rustlers that stole his calves. Boy, every ball player I know that has thin calves usually wears their pants right down on their shoe tops. You know, one or the other. Either thick calves or thin calves. They wear the pants down to hide them.
That's how I would do it. Outside. 2-1. Smile from Ronnie Cedeno, playing short. Right now he is in the hole with Kosuke on deck. Well, again, it looked like that strike zone was stretched a little bit horizontally. It's 2-2. But if Moeller's getting that call, he's probably going to wear out that part of the strike zone.
That's the kind of pitcher that he is, a command guy. Quintero scoots it back toward the corner a little bit there after receiving that pitch. Yeah, almost all hitters will tell you they don't mind if the strike zone is big up and down, but because at least you can hit those pitches. But when umpires start calling strikes that are unhittable, that's not fair.
Well, one thing Gio knows, or at least hopes, is that his pitcher gets those same calls. Well, we have a chance. We have a makeup date for the Run the Bases event that was canceled because of rain suspending the minor league game last week. On Sunday, August 17th, the Cubs will host a high school game presented by Under Armour, and the game is scheduled to start at 1:35. If you have a ticket from the July 29th game, Peoria versus Kane County, you will be allowed into the ballpark for free to watch that game. And then children 14 and under in attendance will be allowed to run the bases afterward. So again, that's Sunday, August 17th at 1:35. Three and two on Soto. Crowd getting up. A pitch. Little dribbler. Moeller will pick it up, and he'll just touch first base and barely avoids that collision with Soto. 2-out double, no runs, still 2-0 Houston.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn. Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear. For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Visit your Honda dealer and test drive the all-new 268 horsepower Accord V6. Astros with a couple of early runs. Carlos Lee with a couple of hits. And for the Cubs, just 3 hits. Fontenot, Edmonds, and Cedeno. Top of the order now for Houston. Matsui, a switch hitter.
Hey, Len, we'd like to extend get well wishes and a big Cubs hello to Cassie McDonald. She's at the Ronald McDonald House in Iowa City, Iowa. Watches all the Cubs games. Get well soon, Cassie.
Fouled back. Happy 35th to Bob Howery, celebrating his birthday. Happy belated 13th birthday to big Cubs fan Matthew Sherman. That's a foul ball because it hit Matsui while he was in the batter's box. Michael McKeon, who played Lenny on Laverne and Shirley, a 70s sitcom hit, will join us tonight for the 7th inning stretch. There was a question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire this morning about one of Spinal Tap's songs and the lyrics. I knew the answer. I was screaming at the television. The contestant had no idea which lyric was not actually in the song. Big Bottom. Pretty funny. Popped up. And Soto will not have a play.
Say hello to a big Cubs fan, Mary Moak in Morton, Illinois. We said hi to her a couple of weeks ago, but she was away from the TV when it happened. She didn't believe we said hello. So, Mary, we're going to say hello again to Mary Moak in Morton, Illinois.
All right. That last shot, the guy kind of looked like Tony Clifton. Going back to the late 70s, early 80s. Andy Kaufman character. Nice play by Dempster. As he throws to first. Matsui is 0 for 3.
Talked about Ryan Dempster working hard on his offensive part of the game, his bunting and swinging the bat, and has apparently spent some time fielding comebackers to the mound. That's one of those things in spring training when you don't really know what you want your pitchers to do on a given day. They're not scheduled to throw on the side or in the game. You send them to a backfield with a coach and a fungo bat and a bucket of balls and hit them comebackers.
Bunted by Tejada. Barehand pickup by Dempster, nicely done.
Astros better try somebody else. Ryan Dempster making all the plays. One on a hard hit ball back through the middle. This a bunt attempt to the third base side from Tejada. Nice barehanded grab and throw right on the money.
Well, Ryan Dempster certainly has been influenced by Greg Maddux when it comes to his pitching. I think Greg would be proud of Ryan's defense here in this inning. Berkman with 2 outs and nobody out.
We're going to test the memory of some of the Cub fans here. Got a real nice, long, involved letter from a lady named Joyce Haig from Duluth, Minnesota. Her great aunt was Cowbell Annie. Now, some more veteran Cub fans may remember Cowbell Annie. Her real name was Ora Ehrenberg, and Joyce Haig was the great niece of Cowbell Annie and spent all of her summers here at Wrigley Field with her great aunt.
Ball and 2 strikes.
More cowbell.
One, 2 from Dempster. Now it's even 2-2. Dempster has been almost unbeatable at home this season. 10-1 in 13 starts at Wrigley. Cubs are 11-2 when he's taken the ball here. Swing and a miss. Berkman has struck out twice tonight. He's 0 for 3, and his frustrations against the Cubs continue. 2-0 Astros.
An old cowboy went riding out one dark and windy day.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn. Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com
For all your Dodger gear.
For all your Red Sox gear.
All your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming.
Updated version of the Laverne and Shirley theme. Oh, I guess that's the actual TV theme. We have the updated edition coming up later on our fan cam. Kosuke leading off the bottom of the fifth. A strike on the inside corner from Brian Moeller, who 2 starts ago gave up 5 earned runs, 9 hits, and 2 1/3. But his last time out, 8 2/3 to beat the Reds. And he has pitched extremely well tonight. Bunted foul by Kosuke. 0-2. Moeller's been a lot better at night than in the daytime. 6-3 with a 338 at night. 0-1 with a 922 during the day. I don't know if we mentioned it the other day, but Ned Yost has gone away from the home road platoon involving Seth McClung and Dave Bush. Bush is going to stay in the rotation. McClung will pitch out of the pen. What made me think about that is you wonder if Cecil Cooper would find another starter who pitches better in the day and maybe do the day-night platoon. Too many numbers making my head hurt.
Yeah, that's getting a little too specialized for my liking.
But I want to know what Moeller's record is when the game starts at 6 o'clock instead of 7. Called strike 3 to get Fukudome for the first out. Brings up Cedeno. Well, the home team in this season series has won each series 2 out of 3. Cubs are 41-15 at home. Just took a 3-game series, 2 of 3 against the Pirates over the weekend to start this 9-game homestand. And remember, they trailed 2-0 early yesterday. Ooh. Just a few minutes ago, a little lightning in the area. That was off to the west. He fouled it off his front foot. So the Astros players are a little concerned about what's going on back home. A tropical storm headed for the Gulf Coast of Texas. Right in the middle of that season. We'll be headed down to South Florida as part of our next road trip. Atlanta and then to Miami. So Ronnie fouled that ball off his foot. Needs a couple of seconds. Looks like he has some new shoes. You know what does it? The white laces. That's what makes them look unique.
I'm not sure about those particular shoes, but I know that most players, when they get their cleats, they come with white laces and then they immediately take them out and put in blue laces to match the blue on the shoe and the uniform.
Another call a Cubs batter didn't particularly care for, and that forced Ronnie to chase after a 1-2 offering.
Yeah, see, that's the look that most of the players go with. Ryan Dempster took out the white laces, went with the blue.
Cubs have only had a couple of runners in scoring position over the first 4 innings plus. Trying to get a base runner here. Pence on the move yet again, and he has it. Here's another look at tonight's AT&T text poll question. Last chance to vote for your favorite member of the 1978 Chicago Cubs, 30 years ago. Well, I had the Bruce Sutter jersey on. You had the Bill Buckner.
I needed the Rick Russell jersey.
The Billy Buck jersey was a little small.
Just a little snug.
Tight.
Yeah.
And that scoots past Wigginton. Well, remember that one. Inning still alive for Soriano.
I mentioned earlier in the ballgame, this Astros team plays very good defense. There are 53 errors on the season, tied for the lowest in the major leagues. From our Southwest RoboCam, Ty Wigginton goes 2 or 3 steps to his left and just can't come up with that top spin grounder.
So it's a hit for Dempster. And here's Soriano digging in. Carlos Lee got pinned up against the warning track out in left. Wind barely moving the flags at the moment. Inside. We could have some impending weather here. Seeing some lightning in the area. We play here in the bottom of the 5th. Cubs trail 2-0. Dempster singling with 2 outs. And now it's Soriano, a 1-1 count. He has flied to center and has struck out swinging. When the sky starts to look green, you get a little nervous.
Well, that lightning that we showed you off in the distance just a few moments ago is right around the corner. Fans in the upper reaches of Wrigley Field are getting treated to quite a light show out in the distance.
Long look by Moeller. He has a sign from Quintero. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to second base. Easy play for Matsui. Short throw. And we have completed 5 from Wrigley Field. It's Houston 2 and the Cubs nothing.
This is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that won't singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
Hey, this is Curtis Grant.
Hey, this is Adam Dunn. Check out the shop on MLB.com.
Check out the shop on MLB.com.
For all your Dodger gear.
For all your Red Sox gear.
For all your Yankees gear.
All your Blue Jay gear.
Your Cincinnati Reds gear.
For all your Twins gear.
Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLB.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the MLB.com shop today.
Let's take a look at our upcoming WGN-produced baseball schedule in high definition, sponsored by Comcast. Wednesday afternoon, we'll have the final game of this series on WGN Sports. 1 o'clock for the leadoff man as the rains have hit hard, and we're going to have a delay. Thursday night, Sox host Detroit at 7, right here on WCIU. Saturday night, Sox host Boston at 6 on WGN Sports. We knew it was coming, and here it is. Wally Bell, the crew chief, calling everybody off the field. Just after we got through 5 to make it official, no matter what happens the rest of the way.
Started innocently enough, just a few scattered drops of rain. A couple of the fans started to stir in their seats, and then suddenly the skies opened up.
So Houston leading the ball game 2-0. They got a run in the first inning on a Carlos Lee single, scoring Miguel Tejada, and then in the fourth, a bases loaded walk to Humberto Quintero. The grounds crew doing everything it can to get that tarp on as quickly as possible. It is really coming down.
And probably because they have more practice than any grounds crew in baseball, but nobody gets that tarp on the field faster than the grounds crew here at Wrigley Field.
And the one question you always have to ask in this spot is, depending on how long the rain delay is, will it knock out the 2 starting pitchers? Ryan Dempster has thrown 75 pitches through 5 innings. Brian Moeller has thrown just 63. So Roger Baird and the grounds crew getting that tarp on the infield as fast as possible. We'll take a break. We're in a rain delay, top of the 6th. The Cubs trail the Astros 2-0 in game 1 of this series, and we'll be right back. A rain delay of well over 2.5 hours. And talking to people, Bob, who have been coming to Wrigley Field for decades, they said that was the worst storm they've ever seen go through this ballpark.
I'll tell you, I've been here for some terrible thunderstorms. I've seen the dugouts flood clear up to field level, but I've never seen the water come off the roof and go straight up. I've never seen anything like that.
We hope everybody watching out there is okay. A ton of rain, lots of storms in the area. But we are ready to resume. The Cubs trail 2-0. And really, Bob, there were 2 options when this rain delay started for the Cubs. Either they lose or they get a chance to come back, because this would have been an official game, and it would have gone down as a 2-0 Astros win.
Yeah, this is the best possible scenario for the Cubs, especially with the way their offense has shown a propensity for coming back late in ball games. Also, it gets Brian Moeller out of the game. He had really handcuffed the Cubs through the first 5 innings and only 4 hits. Of course, Ryan Dempster, his evening is over as well. Chad Godin will take the mound for the Cubs when play resumes.
Fans were asked to leave the grandstand area. As the storms came in, we heard the tornado sirens. It was pretty bad, but eventually things calmed down. We've gotten just a couple of brief showers here over the last 15 to 20 minutes. Give Roger Baird and the Wrigley Field grounds crew all the credit for getting this field ready to resume, and Chad Godin will take over for Ryan Dempster.
And if the Cubs are able to come back and win this ball game in the final 4 innings, you have to seriously consider giving the grounds crew a playoff share should the Cubs get into position to vote playoff shares.
And we should note, yeah, it's not the Cubs' call. Once the first pitch is thrown, this game is in the hands of the umpires. So the key person is the crew chief, Wally Bell. They make all the decisions about postponements, cancellations, and the like. And also, good news from Cincinnati is the Reds beat the Brewers 6-3 the final. And there was an altercation in the Brewers dugout between the starting pitcher Manny Parra and first baseman Prince Fielder. They exchanged words after Parra came out for a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. Fielder apparently shoved Parra twice, and they were separated. So the Cubs now lead the division by 5.5, but they trail 2-0. And here we go again.
This is amazing. This is truly amazing that we're even considering restarting this ball game.
Godin to Carlos Lee, and a swing and a miss. The rain delay was 2 hours and 45 minutes. Godin winding, and that slider is low and outside. Well, not everybody remained, and we can understand why, but it's a hardy bunch.
They're going to get their money's worth tonight.
They have already made a lot of noise. Outside corner.
Well, a 2 hour and 45-minute rain delay translates into 2 bags of peanuts, a couple of cookies, a Diet Pepsi, and I got to listen to the first 3 innings of the Boise Hawks game. Hawks are up 5-1, by the way.
Good to know. Yeah, this is the late show. You had the 6 o'clock show, and now you have about the 10:25 show. Pence on deck. Lee is 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run. Dempster went 5, gave up 2 runs. Struck out 7, walked 1. The walk came with the bases loaded. Pulled just foul past third.
This field is just in remarkable condition, given the rains that fell here in a very, very short period of time. I mean, it never really stopped raining until we resumed play here. Even as the pitchers went out to the bullpens to start warming up, it started to rain once again.
Still a couple of little puddles out there on the warning track. The warning track behind home plate was completely drenched, and there was a lot of debris because one of the doors got open right near the visiting dugout. Pop foul off to the right, not a play.
And the grounds crew is ever at the ready. They're sitting right behind the tarp down the right field line, ready to spring over that wall and go into action once again if needed. What a great job, guys. Way to go.
Two pitch. He reached out. Soto's going to come over. But there's a souvenir. Nicely done. And he gets rewarded for hanging around.
Kept his scorecard dry for 2 hours and 45 minutes and makes a nice catch. Well, and a lot of the current fans of the Cubs may not believe this, but I've played some games in this ballpark where this was about the attendance we would get.
Godin trying to put away Carlos Lee, and he finally does. On the slider, spun him around.
Good slider just off the outside edge of the plate. Carlos Lee was in swing mode up there with 2 strikes, fouling off everything Godin fired up there. Just scoots it a little further over off the outside corner.
That was a 9-pitch at bat. Chad Godin blew the save yesterday, but got the win. He gave up the home run to Andy LaRoche. Popped up by Pence on the first pitch. Fontenot coming in. 2 down.
Well, and as you know as well as I do, we have an opportunity to see the players before and after the ball game when they're in a much more relaxed mode. But tell you, once you play that national anthem, there's an edge. Players get an edge. Everything picks up speed. Your senses are heightened. and then to sit through a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay, whichever team can get that edge back quickest is probably going to win this ball game, even though the Astros have a 2-0 lead.
$40,867, the paid crowd tonight. Obviously, many have moved on. But the fans who are left are making some noise. Not right now, but they did earlier on the strikeout of Lee. And it's 1-1 on Wigginton with 2 outs.
We had some variations on the Let's Go Cubbies during the rain delay. Let's Go Grounds crew.
Yeah, take the tarp off was one of them. Swing and a miss, 2-2. A very eerie sound here in the neighborhood when the sirens were going off. Dry at the moment, and we're back underway, and here's a 2-2 from Godin. It's outside. 3-2. Now we're just a few days away from the 20th anniversary of a very famous or infamous rainout, the first night game back in '88, as Wigginton was able to hold up. So a 2-out base runner, and that'll bring up Darren Erstad, the center fielder. He has struck out twice, both coming against the starter, Ryan Dempster. You were joking during the rain delay. The delay was almost long enough for both starters to be rested and ready to go again.
Yeah, they got adequate rest. Ready to go. Working on 2 hours and 45 minutes between starts.
I am guessing Rich Harden and Wandy Rodriguez went back to get some rest for the game tomorrow. It's a day game, a 1:20 first pitch, as it starts to rain again. And a ground ball to Cedeno. He's going to head to second base, and he'll beat Wigginton there. And that ends the top of the 6th. Only took about 2 hours and 55 minutes to play. It's 2-0 Houston. the sights from the rain delay. It was coming down in sheets, blowing all around the ballpark. It lasted quite a while.
We saw several lightning strikes within a couple of blocks of Wrigley Field. A lot of lightning strikes out over the lake.
Ball one on Mike Fontenot. Well, somebody stopped the rain, fortunately. And the Cubs now hopefully on the comeback trail as they face left-hander Tim Burdack. He deals strike one, 1-1. We might need some off up here in the booth. Mosquitoes are out. Burdack, by the way, was born in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Attended Rice University, pitching for his 4th major league team.
He's had a nice year for the Astros, 2-1 with a 2.72 ERA. This is his 41st ball game of the season. He will lose that strike zone on occasion, however. 36 1/3 innings pitched, 25 base on balls.
Good rip by Fontenot. He fouled it back. 2-2. Jeff Geary, a right-hander, is up for the Astros. How about Brian Moeller tonight? 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs. He didn't walk anybody, struck out 4. Three and 2 on the leadoff man in this inning. Fontenot second in the order. Darrell Ward getting the start for Derek Lee, who is available off the bench.
It's kind of an odd situation for both managers, really, but Cecil Cooper kind of playing matchup baseball here in the 6th inning. Burdack in the game, a left-handed pitcher. 3 of the first 4 hitters he would face in this inning are left-handed hitters.
Kick and the 3-2 into center field, and it's Darren Erstad to make the catch. Well, it seems like we asked this question back in 1978. Our AT&T text poll question: your favorite member of the 1978 Chicago Cubs, and Dave Kingman is the winner. 70s night tonight. Bill Buckner, Ivan DeJesus, Bruce Sutter, Rick Russell on that list. See what's new at the new AT&T. Visit att.com for details. Michael McKeon was scheduled to conduct the 7th inning stretch. I'm not sure if Michael's still here or not.
Guess we'll have to wait and see like everybody else.
The song will be sung, we know that. Two strikes on the former Astro, Darrell Ward. It'll be a familiar sight for the pitchers probably the rest of the way. Burdack getting the mud out of his spikes. Ward able to hold up a ball and 2 strikes.
A lot of that drying compound. There are several different companies that make that stuff that they use to dry up the infield. Players call it kitty litter, and it tends to clump in your cleats. So we'll probably see a few delays on the mound as the pitcher gets the dirt out of his cleats. Same thing at home plate.
Well, I saw another nasty lightning strike to the north. Swing and a miss. Got him to chase. 2 down.
Sweeping slider from the lefty Burdack. Strikes it on the inside part of the plate, ends up off the plate low and away. Darrell Ward comes up empty.
Coming into tonight, the Astros bullpen with 11 straight scoreless innings over their last 3 games. They had a 0.92 earned run average during their recent homestand. And we are told Michael McKeon is still here. One and one on Aramis. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Edmonds on deck. Burdack has a sign from Quintero and a foul into the upper deck.
And because the conditions have changed so drastically here at Wrigley Field because of the storm that blew through, I'm sure both teams were warned by their manager and coaching staff to keep your legs underneath you. Don't overextend. Very easy to lose your footing. You get out on that front foot running full speed, plant that heel cleat in the ground, and there's a chance it might not stay in the ground. Shorten up your steps just a little bit. Make sure you keep your legs underneath you.
Kick and the 2-2. That one's driven way deep, and he pulled it. Foul.
Ooh, that made a loud noise coming off of Ramos's bat that time. We could have used some of that wind we had during the rain delay. It would have blown that ball to straightaway center field. We knew it right away. Just got a little bit too far out in front. Got some hook on that line drive, and it ends up over in the fire station somewhere.
Another 2-2. He's run it full. The wind is non-existent. Very calm at the moment. Payoff pitch, and he walked him. So the Cubs take their first walk. It comes with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Very pensive Cecil Cooper.
I'll tell you, Len, it's no trip to the beach to spend 2 hours and 45 minutes in either one of these clubhouses here at Wrigley Field, but you'd much prefer to be on the home side than the visiting side. Very cramped quarters over there.
Edmonds hits a ground ball to Wigginton, and he's going to go to second base for Matsui, and that'll end the inning. We'll head to the 7th. Astros 2, Cubs nothing.
Seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator. The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV. The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all of the above. Sharp.
Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a screamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball-loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web, surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
For tonight's Bud Light Fan Cam with Lenny from Laverne and Shirley in the house, here's Less Than Jake. A punkish twist on the Laverne and Shirley theme from Less Than Jake. Tonight's Bud Light Fan Cam. Bud Light keeps it coming. 2 strikes on Humberto Quintero, the Astros catcher, with a pinch hitter on deck. Left-handed hitting David Newhan is in the on-deck circle. That's fouled away. It's a little lonely up there. This one also foul off to the right. Again, the Brewers lost tonight. The Cardinals were off this evening. Cubs lead right now by 5.5 over the Brewers in the division. Cardinals are 6 out. And Soto just didn't have enough room. Hit the guy wire. Might have actually hit right at the top of the net.
I think you're absolutely right. Len Soto gets back there in good shape. I think that ball hit right off the very top of the netting behind home plate. A nice catch by a fan, but unfortunately Giovanni Soto can't get to it.
Lightly raining, but we're going to play through it for the time being. So Dan's 0-2 is a bit high. We can handle this, considering what happened earlier. Another foul. This is a waterlogged fan base right now. I think some of the fans deciding, you know what? I'm already drenched. What's the difference?
I'll tell you, for several minutes in the middle of that storm, there was nowhere to hide. The wind was blowing every direction. The rain was going every direction. People were looking for some protection back up underneath the overhang and back on the concourse, but everybody's soaked right now.
Two balls, 2 strikes. There goes the bat.
Well, that's one of the things you have to be concerned with. I was just about to say you keep a close eye on the pitchers on the mound to make sure they're not losing their footing and risking somebody getting drilled by a pitch. You also don't want to see bats flying in the stands with any kind of regularity. Well, that one went a long way. Ended up clear down past the Cubs dugout on the third base side.
It's been so long, I can't remember the other bat that went in. We know who let go of it? I can't remember. It was like in the first or the second inning. At any rate, still 2-2 on Quintero. The next pitch struck him out swinging. And it was Humberto Quintero who let go of the bat earlier in the ballgame, so he has lost a couple of bats.
Very similar to the slider off the outside corner that Chad Godin struck out Carlos Lee with as we resume play. That was way back at the beginning of the ball game.
That was before the rains came. David Newhan, the pinch hitter. Ball one. Ground ball, and Fontenot a little bit to his left for the second out. So it's Kaz Matsui, who is 0 for 3. Michael McKeon coming up with our seventh inning stretch. Inside corner for a strike. Swung on and missed. 0-2. Best fans in the world sat through a 2-hour 45-minute rain delay, and it was pretty nasty. They're on their feet. Struck him out. Time to sing the stretch.
Tonight's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game is Lenny from Laverne and Shirley, Michael McKeon.
All right, let me hear you. Good and loud. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. So it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3.
seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator. The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV. The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all of the above. Sharp.
Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
We are back here, bottom of the 7th. Giovanni Soto greeting Jeff Geary with a leadoff single.
On a Southwest RoboCam. Boy, anything not hit directly at an infielder, it's going to be tough to get in front of the ball. Very treacherous footing out there right now.
Michael McKeon is with us in the booth. You're such a great sport. You hung around through a 2-hour, 45-minute rain delay, and you nailed it.
Hey, if there's a better place to be than Wrigley Field in the summer of 2008, I don't know what it would be.
Numbers on Jeff Geary, the right-hander, facing Kosuke Fukudome. 1 strike. Here's a pitch. Pop foul and out of play. What were you thinking about when you heard the sirens earlier?
I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I was actually having a conversation with your son as the sirens hit. Is this because I'm talking to his son? No, and people from Chicago had no idea what it was. So I'm just glad we all survived. It is the best show in town. I mean, even without the storm, the Cubs are the best show in town.
Another great show in town, Superior Donuts.
That's right.
Yeah. Nice segue there.
Well, we got the whole cast is here, pretty much.
The 0-2 pitch is outside, 1-2.
As well as our author, the Pulitzer Prize and Tony winning Tracy Letts. An adopted Chicagoite.
Soto started the inning with a base hit, so the tying run is at the plate with nobody out, and that's hit foul. Left-hander Neil Kotz is up in the Cubs bullpen. Well, my full name is Len, but I was called Lenny when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And everywhere I went, they would say, "Where's Squiggy?"
Oh, boy. Well, I get
I'm
that
sure
now.
you heard that and still do to this day. Quintero slides toward the inside corner, and it's way inside.
That doesn't make sense.
They came prepared. Rooftop across the street on Sheffield. Here comes a 2-2 pitch, and he struck him out. So that's the first out. So you're from New York, right?
Yes, I am.
Your team growing up, Michael?
The Brooklyn Dodgers when I was a tiny child. And then I really didn't root so much. Got a little excited about the Mets, 69 or so. Then I went to LA. I kind of resumed my Dodger fanhood. I don't follow baseball a ton, but boy, you're here in Chicago. You got to follow baseball, especially this year. What a phenomenal time.
It's been a great year. And the Cubs right now in first place, and they've been for a long time. The pitch to Ronnie Cedeno's a strike.
I got to ask you, Michael, did you guys have as much fun making Spinal Tap as we all did watching it?
Well, yes, we actually did. It was like every morning we got there was somebody new. So it was Howard Hessman one day and Paul Benedict, and it just got more and more fun. Yeah.
Cedeno at the plate, 1 out. Soto the runner at first.
That's
lined in the center, but it's going to hold up for Erstad. So 2 outs. And Mark DeRosa now will bat for Chad Godin. You've had so many great roles in many Christopher Guest movies, and it had to feel great. I mean, winning the Grammy. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
It was pretty shocking.
A song from A Mighty Wind. There's Mark DeRosa. Still the tying run at the plate with 2 outs. A kiss at the end of the rainbow, right?
Well, that was what we got the Oscar nomination
the
for.
Oscar,
my wife and I wrote that, and Chris and Eugene and I wrote the title tune. So now you know. Now you got the stats on us. No numbers, but just the one lost.
And you're a very talented musician.
Oh,
Not only a songwriter, but guitar player, singer.
A lot of guitar playing in your house, I understand.
Well, we try, you know. Bob plays the guitar too, so we're big fans.
Yeah, Len's son Leo is giving me lessons.
You're never too old.
That's right.
Now,
yeah, there's a Spinal Tap song on Guitar Hero, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty neat.
Well, it would be neater if we owned the publisher. But that one was written for the movie, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it all went to somebody who's long gone.
2-1 on DeRosa. How much of that film was ad-libbed?
About 99%.
Yeah.
There were actually 2 lines written in the film. One from Patrick McNee, the Tap into America speech, and one other speech. I think everything else was completely improvised. It's more fun that way. No lines to learn.
Sure. DeRosa goes deep to left. Lead back at the warning track. He's going to catch it. Boy, it sounded great off the bat.
It's so good.
Just came up a little bit short. Michael, thanks so much for the time.
pleasure.
We
Thrill of my
appreciate you
life,
hanging
seriously.
around. Lenny from Laverne and Shirley, David St. Hubbins. We go on and on and on. Please come back many more times.
Count on it.
Thanks,
Come
Mike.
see us.
Seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator. The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV. The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all the above. Sharp.
Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
How do you want to see the game? You want to be closer? Well, this is no ordinary ticket. This is your ticket to baseball heaven in high definition. Sharp Aqua's the official HD TV of Major League Baseball. And with a blazing 4-millisecond response time and a super fast refresh rate, there isn't a shot in the hole or a streamer down the line that will singe the hair in your nostrils. It will change your baseball loving life.
Aqua's LCD TV. Change your TV, change your life. Sharp.
Are you an adrenaline junkie? At Grind TV on Yahoo Sports, you can submit your own videos or watch the pros in action. Check out the most outrageous, untamed, and awe-inspiring sports videos on the web. Surfing, skateboarding, motocross, and so much more. For the sickest action sports videos, check out Grind TV on Yahoo Sports.
2-0 Astros as we head to the top of the 8th. It sounded like a home run. It looked like a home run off the bat, but the drive by Mark DeRosa to straightaway left field just got out to the warning track and died. The crowd thought it was gone. We thought it was gone. Oh, so close. Carlos Lee right back into the vines to make that leaping catch up against the wall.
And his pitcher Geary excited, and Carlos Lee very familiar with this ballpark. Neil Cott's now working to Miguel Tejada, like Fontenot for just the 4th time in his major league career playing short. He made 3 starts there last season. DeRosa stays into play second, so Cedeno's out. And Cott's now pitching, and a soft line is caught by Darrell Ward. Thanks again to Michael McKeon for hanging around. What a nice guy.
What a trooper.
Lance Berkman turning around and batting right-handed. 0 for 3 left-handed versus Ryan Dempster. Well, we continue to see little pops of lightning in the area. Just toward a thunderclap, little more lightning. LaTroy Hawkins, former Cub, recently acquired by Houston from the Yankees, is up in their bullpen. The 0-1 pitch. Chopper to Ramirez, who comes in on it, pops the mitt, gets it over to Ward, 2 outs. Can you imagine watching your first place Cubs from the front row here at Wrigley Field? Now you can. Visit Cubs.com and click on the CBOE Front Row Seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. The auctions for the Cardinals and Reds series are going on now. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action and cheer your favorite Cubs from the very front row. Man, oh man, I've seen a lightning show tonight.
It tends to be a little distracting for a hitter in the batter's box when you see a bolt of lightning right behind the center field fence.
1-1.
Jeez.
Outside corner strike. Lee with the go-ahead RBI single in the very first inning. Bases loaded walk in the 4th to the catcher Quintero. That's been it for the run scoring to this point. Struck him out. Neil Kotz goes 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 8th. Top of the order for the Cubs in the home half coming up.
Seems like you need to be a physics professor to choose the right TV. Luckily, I am one. Your choice is the brand behind the first LCD display in a calculator. The dreamers who evolved the LCD into a 3-inch TV. The designers who first hung an LCD TV on a wall. The pioneers who gave America full HD 1080p in an LCD TV. The creators of the world's largest LCD display. Or choose all of the above.
What a night. Just had a nasty lightning strike. A little bit to the north. Baird, the head groundskeeper here at Wrigley Field, chatting with the crew chief, Wally Bell. It's not raining, but it is somewhere very close by. Former Cub Troy Hawkins getting ready to work here in the 8th inning. He was acquired along with cash considerations from the Yankees in exchange for a minor league infielder, Matt Cusick, on July 30th. He had been designated for assignment by the Yankees. He hit 97 with his fastball in his Astros debut on Saturday. Working from the stretch with nobody on base, swing and a miss by Soriano. Troy is from Gary, Indiana, 7th round pick of the Twins in 1991. Quintero wants it a little bit off the outside corner. That's where it is, and Soriano didn't swing at it.
You mentioned a good fastball from LaTroy Hawkins. Also throws a very hard slider. It might be a cut fastball moving away from the right-handers, but he throws it in the high 80s.
The kick and the pitch in on the hands and fouled back. Ominous sounds off in the distance.
Jeez. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
A 1-2 pitch, another foul. Five hits for both teams. One error, that was by Kosuke on a throw early on. And the 1-2. A little bit outside. Fontenot and Ward to follow. And again, remember, Derek Lee available off the bench. Reed Johnson, who had the game-winning home run yesterday, is available. Ryan Theriot also on the bench. We've seen Mark DeRosa pinch hit. He's now playing second. Swing and a miss. That's strike 3.
Up the ladder fastball from LaTroy Hawkins. Ball's about shoulder high over the heart of the plate. That's part of the problem against LaTroy Hawkins. You see that four-seam fastball so well out of his hand, but when he throws it up there above the letters, it's really tough to catch up to.
What are the odds either team is going to take batting practice tomorrow? Sit here at about 10 minutes after 11. A 1:21 pitch tomorrow. And it'll be Wandy Rodriguez and Rich Harden. Boy, I'll tell you what, Lance Berkman just ran about 25 feet, and the Astros players now heading off the field, and they're going to bring the tarp out. Again, it's not raining, but we are in a lightning storm if nothing else. Lance Berkman just vacated with the last sound of thunder. And you get to the point, Bob, where this is a very dangerous situation.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, these lightning strikes are all within a block or so of Wrigley Field, striking the buildings in the area all around us. Players on the Cubs bench having a little chuckle, but very dangerous situation. You'll see Lance Berkman, Matt Sinatro ducking for cover. Ooh.
And now the rain is starting to fall, but again, the delay here caused by a lot of lightning and thunder.
Yeah, we would play right through this little bit of rain that we're seeing right now, but the conditions with the lightning are such that You've got to get the players off the field. And I believe I told the story last year, perhaps a year before, when I was in the minor leagues at Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We were playing a game in Clinton, Iowa. Very similar circumstances to what we've seen here at Wrigley tonight. I was playing left field as the sirens went off, and I never saw a ballpark empty so quickly in my life. I looked up to see a lightning strike, and I looked back, and everybody was gone. We had no idea what to do as players. We stood out on the field. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally, they told us to get on the team bus.
All right, we're in a rain delay. We're going to throw it back to the station for some programming, and we'll keep you up to date. It's 2-0 Houston, and please be safe.